Hi, third grade. So it's time to read a little bit of that crazy gal we know, Amelia Bedelia, who gets things really mixed up like idioms and homonyms, homophones. She just gets things all mixed up. It's kind of funny. Our next chapter is To Get There, Go Backward. As it turned out, right was wrong. They drove along for what seemed like hours. There were no more signs. There were no other roads to turn down. There were no houses. There was not one person to ask where they were. Just trees and grass and more trees. So remember, when they came to the end of the road, you had to go left or right. And so Amelia said, taking the right turn was the wrong thing to do. Going right was wrong. Now this, said Amelia Bedelia's father, is what I call roaming. And you, said Amelia Bedelia's mother, are a regular Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone, if you don't know, was a woodsman. He traveled by foot and he went through the Cumberland Gap, and he lived in this part of the United States. He hunted and fished. Daniel who? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Daniel Boone was a famous explorer, said her dad. He wore a raccoon skin hat while blazing trails across America. Blazing trails? He sounds cool, said Amelia Bedelia. Did all that blazing start forest fires? Just campfires, said her mom. Look him up when we get home. Now that's official homework, my dear. Amelia Bedelia got out her journal. She drew a picture of Daniel Boone. She drew a picture of a bumpy road. She drew ants on a blanket. She drew her lunch. She drew her own map key for important stuff she would like to find. Amelia Bedelia's father shook his head. Man, I have no idea where we are. I know, said Amelia Bedelia's mother. We're in the middle of nowhere. Well, said her dad, if this isn't the middle of nowhere, I'm sure we could see nowhere from here. How can you see nowhere? That's odd. As their car climbed the crest of a hill, Amelia Bedelia spied a farmer in his field and shouted, A human being! Honey, let's ask him where we are, said Amelia Bedelia's mother. Amelia Bedelia's father stopped the car, and her mother lowered her window. Excuse me, sir, said Amelia Bedelia's mother. We're lost. I know, said the farmer. The only reason anyone drives by here is because they aren't where they're supposed to be. Amelia Bedelia's mom handed the map to the farmer and pointed to a town. Can you tell us how to get there? The farmer squinted and shrugged. Sorry, lady, you can't get there from here. Amelia Bedelia's father laughed, but not like when something is funny. Her mother didn't know what to say, but Amelia Bedelia did. She leaned forward between the seats and asked, Mr. Farmer, sir, if we were already there, how would we get back there? This time the farmer laughed, a real laugh. Well, little lady, that is a mighty interesting question. Without looking at the map, he began reeling off the directions. Her parents nodded politely as he described signs and landmarks and twists and turns. So that brings you to right here, folks, the farmer finally said. Excuse me now, but I've got to get my cows up to the barn for milking. As he waved goodbye over his shoulder, he called out, Come on, ladies, and a herd of cows trailed after him, the bells on their necks clanging. Amelia Bedelia's parents looked at the cows and then at each other. Did you catch any of those directions? Asked her dad. Not a bit of it, said her mother. I did, said Amelia Bedelia, handing them her journal. I wrote it all down. If we go backwards, starting at the top and changing lefts to rights, we'll get to the town. Here's Amelia Bedelia's journal. Amelia Bedelia's parents were silent. The truth was, they were dumbstruck. It's okay, Amelia Bedelia said. I'll read the directions to you. First, go straight for 2 miles, passing by a swamp. Turn left at the rock that looks like a teapot. Drive 3 miles across a railroad track. Turn right, drive for 8 more miles. Amelia Bedelia was looking at her journal, so she missed her parents gazing at her with pride. That was pretty smart of Amelia Bedelia, if they get back to where they're supposed to be going. Amelia Bedelia, said her mother, I think you'll find your way in the world. No problem. Yep, said her dad, no doubt about that. You're a regular Daniel Boone. He began driving, following Amelia Bedelia's directions, word for word. By the time they got to the little town on the map, it was almost dark. They checked into a motel, then went out for Chinese food. The best part of their meal was the fortune cookies. Amelia Bedelia read her fortune out loud. It said, Learn to fish and you will never go hungry. Then Amelia Bedelia's mother read hers. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. She took a bite of her cookie, then said, I'm glad we weren't walking. I feel like we drove 999 miles just today. What does yours say, honey? Her father leaned back, cleared his throat, and read, So far, so bad. Amelia Bedelia was amazed. Then he looked up and smiled. You made that up. I sure did, he said. Just like I'm making up this vacation. Sorry today wasn't any fun. I'll plan things better for tomorrow. Aw, Dad, said Amelia Bedelia. It wasn't that bad. And we're together, said her mother. That's worth a fortune. Family hug, yelled Amelia Bedelia. And the 3 of them hugged right there in the restaurant. As they left, Amelia Bedelia swept their paper fortunes into her pocket. That night she wrote an entry in her journal. She signed her name with the date to make it official, and she taped her mom's 1,000-mile fortune on the first page. Then she read her dad's fortune. What it really said was, follow your dreams. Here's what she wrote in her journal. This was Mom's idea to write this. Today we went on a vacation to Rome, not pizza and pasta Roman. Rome, R-O-A-M, means stuck in the car, driving around confused, getting lost and more lost until we wind up somewhere. This was all Dad's idea. So far, it's been really weird. So what her dad's fortune had actually said was, follow your dreams. And that made Amelia Bedelia feel terrible about what she had written in her journal. Her father's dream had been to go roaming, but things hadn't gone very smoothly. She promised to be nicer to him tomorrow. Everyone needs a dream, she decided, especially the people you love. She tucked her fortune and her dad's fortune into her journal for later. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to say Happy Mother's Day to your moms on Sunday. I hope some of you made those cards for her. She'll love them.